So how do you create a purpose-led, value-centered culture which then allows you to be inclusive, diverse, and kind of one of the key contributors to the third one, innovation, right? So you need to be inclusive and have diversity in order to really optimize as an innovative business. And again, this all just based on our experience, the work we do at 4i. So really, creating culture is absolutely, primarily, fundamentally led from the top. But most critically, all that the top does is enable, through the clarity of message and the living of the defined values, the change to come from the bottom up. All right, so does that make sense? Led from the top, but the change comes from the bottom up. And the reason for that is that if the people in the organization at large, every layer down and every span across the organization under the leader, the CEO, the chairperson, the owner, the whoever, if they look at that person and they don't see that person being and doing the change that they are asking for, it's not going to be sustained and it won't work. End of story. I've never seen an example of it happening. That's not to say that it can't sort of be provoked, but ultimately that person has to be the person to say, we are doing this, this is the culture we're going to create. Even if they're then saying, I'm saying this because I've seen the desire for it, right? But that is the point at which you say that's how you create the culture. That's the change beginning to be embedded. But then that person at the top, or that small, very small group of people, if it is more than one person, the founders or the directors or whomever, they then need to enable the change to come from the bottom up. They need to give permission for everybody in the organization to sign up for this journey, that they say, yes, I share the values and I will live them as much as you are, at least if not more. And then they do the change. Everybody becomes the change. And then at any point in that journey, if the communication of why stops, or the communication of how and the celebration of what has been achieved stops, so does the vehicle of progressing and creating a new culture stop. So it has to be led from the top. The top have to give permission and enable everybody in the organization and that sort of bottom up swell to occur. And then at multiple points in the organization, you need to keep on repeatedly communicating why we're doing this, how we're going to go about doing it, and celebrating what has been done. And if needs be, calling out what hasn't been done and recognizing it and reflecting on it and addressing why it hasn't been done and getting it into the other box, into the we have done this box. That is how you create a great culture. And if you do it that way, it is inclusive by definition because everybody is involved and everybody has a role to play. And if you are inclusive and if you have an organization which is not just entirely, sort of composed out of very, very homogenous elements and completely, sort of standardized people, which to an extent should be impossible. But the more breadth of experience and age and ethnic origin and geographical point of origin and linguistic base and cognitive perspective you have in your organization, and the more you include them equally, the more diverse you'll be, the more diverse your ideas will be. And if you're inclusive and if you have a diverse base, you have a chance of being innovative. And innovative in the sense of actually creating something unique and meaningful and purposeful that has the potential to change the world. Because by combining ideas and contributions from an inclusive and diverse group of people, that is how you come up with great innovation, in my humble opinion. So that is, as condensed as I can get it, I tried how to create a great culture. I hope that's of interest. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And I'll turn this video off at some point.